Get a blue WKD because Jamie Vardy's having a party. Welcome back to the channel. And the big man, the 38-year-old veteran from the English Premier League, could be coming up north. He could be coming to Glasgow. And to pretty much repeat what we said about Luka Modric, we are better off with this guy. We have more of a chance of getting into the Champions League and competing domestically with guys that have been there, done it before at a high level. Now, of course, Jamie Vardy is no Luka Modric. I totally understand that. He's 2 years younger than him. I mean, that does bode well, but at the same time, Luka Modric, for me, still playing at a much higher level than what Vardy is. But Jamie Vardy, he, he, he bloomed late in his career. We're talking about a guy that didn't really hit the peak until about 28. Did all right at the conference level with Fleetwood. We moved on to Fleetwood from the conference level, and we're not talking about Conference League, the good old conference underneath the top four leagues down in England. Then, of course, won the league with Leicester. Had a few good seasons after that. Champions League football, almost competing for it, getting into the top four, losing it in a few final days against United. Won an FA Cup in the 2020-21 season, or it might have been the next one. I can't necessarily remember. And then after that, I mean, I guess you could say by that point, Vardy's hitting like 35, 36, and that's when most people slow down. Hell, man, look at Ronaldo and Messi. They were not the players they were at that age, so Jamie Vardy's certainly not going to be. But I look at a guy that last season, he played a total of 36 games, 10 goals, 4 assists. Now, it's not the greatest numbers in the world, but we are told week in, week out that the Premier League is the best league in the world. It is the premier competition. And considering his team was absolutely ranked rotten, and they also had like a stat, I believe, where they didn't even score a home goal from December right up until April. I don't think Jamie Vardy getting 9 goals and 35 appearances in the Barclays Premier League. It's still called the Barclays. No, I don't think it is, but I don't think that's that bad, especially for a team that finished 18th. And we all know that the gap between the top three, the bottom three and the other 17 in the Premier League, it's massive, right? And he got 4 assists along with it, so that's 13 goal contributions in 35 games. I'm not going to sit here and defend it and say, well, that's fantastic. But if he came to Rangers, he's going to be at least the second best team. But we all know with Jamie Vardy, his strength is playing in behind. Is there going to be a lot of that? He's 38, he'll be 39 in January. We know the low block situation. Now, here, there is going to be games that might suit him in the Premier, in the Champions League, in Europe, of course. Teams won't be playing the low block. Hell, you look at Hibs at Easter Road, the last couple of times we played them, the 2 each and the 3 each, they didn't exactly play a low block. And other teams won't always play the low block, but for the most part, is Jamie Vardy really going to be utilised at Ibrox? Taken on, I was going to say Ross County and St Johnstone and clocked on, they're both down. But in terms of Kelly, Motherwell, other teams like that, is he going to be utilised at his best against those teams? Probably not. But again, there's loads of players like that. Cyril Dessers would probably, pretty much every striker at Rangers Football Club, right? And Celtic as well. I bet you they'd all much rather play against teams that didn't play against low block. You have to adapt. But the fact of the matter is this: if Jamie Vardy came in, he's the best finisher that we would have. No two ways about it, right? As much as I would love to say, oh, Igamani, and well, I'm not even going to mention Dessers being a better finisher than Jamie Vardy, but to be fair to CD9, he got more goals. He got more goals than Jamie Vardy last season. For me, it's a no-brainer. The only problem with it is wages, right? Guy, he's a wee bit injury prone, but 35 Premier League games out of a total of 38, that's better than what Danilo managed for us. For me, if we lost Danilo for like, I'm not even going to, I was going to say 6 million, that has been very optimistic, but we lost Danilo for a couple of million, right? And then brought Jamie Vardy in on a free. I think that's smart. Now, again, there's going to be people grating about, well, it's not the business model where you buy young and then you sell them on. I totally understand that, right? But that does not mean from this point in history to the end of time, everybody you need to sign needs to, tick a box in a quota. If there is an older player who's still good enough to play, I think you sign him, man. I don't understand this. Oh, you've got to sign X, Y. I think the problem is in the past we've signed. No, obviously you've got Jermaine Defoe, Stephen Davis, like McGregor. I mean, even Bruno Alves, right? He did not turn out to be anywhere good as near as those three, right? But I think the problem in the past is we've signed a lot of guys that have been into their 30s, like early to mid, that were never actually that good. And I think if you put them to one side and actually look at guys that at one time, I mean, Jamie Vardy at one time was the best striker in the Premier League. Now, yeah, that's a lot of years ago, but he's a fox in the box. And if you want to get into the Champions League, and if you want to have a guy that's going to actually put the ball in the back of the net and not take 4 to 5 shots to do that, he's better than Dessers. It's not the. I mean, of course, we'd rather sign a guy that's 20 for peanuts and then he turns out to be fantastic and then you can sell him on for like 20 million in a few years. With Jamie Vardy, you're just accepting a loss. You're going to be paying this guy wages and that's it. But for me, just like Luka Modric, we are better with these two guys in the team. He's a leader, plenty of experience, England international. To me, it's a no-brainer. Unless the wages are ridiculous, right? Then I don't know what he's on at Leicester, but he's going to have to accept the pay cut. I mean, I don't really understand what Vardy would be expected. It's the same with Modric. Like, I mean, the fact they're linked, I mean, they're not going to be getting the bucks that they were getting at their other clubs. And I think Jamie Vardy, obviously, like we've mentioned, he's been at a lot of Diddy clubs like Fleetwood, conference teams. He then finally got a move to Leicester, Championship, won the Premier League, the unthinkable FA Cup. But he's never been at a big club. He was linked by Arsenal. Wenger wanted him about 8 years ago. That never happened. It would be a good end to his career. And realistically, I don't see any other Champions League clubs that would be willing to sign the guy in here. I'm saying Champions League clubs. There's no guarantee that we're going to get into Champions League, but I think we're the biggest club that's going to be in for Jamie Vardy. Might not be the richest, but what about the 49ers? Another Premier League club could sniffer in this guy like hell. Could he do a job for Leeds coming up? He could. Could he do a job for Sunderland coming up? He could, but I think we're the best option at this stage of his career. And is he the best option for us? I don't know. I don't know what the other players that we're linked with are going to be across the next couple of months, but I'd take him. I think he'd be a success. No guarantee he'd be like Defoe. Two different strikers. I think it's a bit lazy just to say, well, we signed a guy that was 38 in Defoe and Jamie Vardy's 38, so it's all going to work out. Doesn't work out like that, man. The guy has to turn up and he has to perform. He can't just be like, well, it worked for Defoe, it's going to work for me. He's got to put the work and effort in. And what's going to happen? If you go into next season with a better Igamani, Cyril Dessers and Jamie Vardy, is that good enough? I'd say it is. I say it would be. We all have our opinions about Dessers, but at this stage of the game, I'd rather keep Dessers than Danilo. I think, honestly, you would struggle to find too many people that would prefer Danilo over Dessers. Like, why would you? As much as at one point, as much as I think Danilo might be better at holding up the ball and doing this and doing that, he's injury prone and he gets way less goals. He's not. Yeah, he's had his injuries, but there hasn't been a period in Danilo's Rangers career where he scored like 4 and 5 or 5 and 7 because he's never had consistency because he always picks up injuries. So for me, if we go into next season with Vardy, Igamani and Dessers, that's an improvement on this season, and we've made profit because we got able to get rid of Danilo and bring Vardy in on a free. So that's a good trading model to a degree because you're not. It's not like you're losing Danilo on a free and you're bringing in 38-year-old Vardy for 5 million. So yeah, get green light for Vardy. Likelihood, I'll give you a 7. I think there's a real chance this could happen because, like I said earlier, what else can Jamie Vardy really get at this stage of his career, man? Not much more, not much better.